Hey everyone, here we are. This is Mick from Geyser, and we're joined here today by Pierre, CEO and co-founder of Pay with Flash, to really explore Nostr Wallet Connect, explore Flash, and explore how Flash empowers Bitcoiners, Bitcoin creators, but even beyond Bitcoin creators, just creators in general, and all sorts of developers that want to build on Bitcoin and on Lightning through Nostr Wallet Connect. So we're going to deep dive. We're going to do another deep dive. We did one last week with Renee Aaron from Albi, and today we'll be doing it with Pierre. So really excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing, Pierre?
Hey, Mick. Yeah, very good. Thanks a lot for having me. Hi, everyone that's listening in. Happy to be here and talk about, this amazing tech that is Master Wallet Connect.
So let's jump right in. So tell us about a little bit about Flash. What triggered you to start building Flash?
To be honest, a lot of it is, well, I guess it came in two parts, right? There was the first kind of discovery of, well, actually, we can build this because, I mean, you've known me from before. I got into building and Bitcoin when I was still just in the filmmaking world of Bitcoin. And yeah, I hadn't coded in literally about 2 years, maybe some small stuff just to automate some Google Sheets and so on. And as soon as I got back into the game, because my co-founder said, "Hey, look, we've got opportunity. We can build something here." I got back into programming. I realized actually that it's not necessarily that complicated to start generating payment requests, so like Lightning invoices programmatically. That was, of course, the naive approach, because you only realize later that actually there's more complexity to it. But being able to run it from my own LM bits, generate Lightning invoices, was kind of the thing that made me realize, okay, like we should build something here. But yeah, we really went different routes, different directions, and it's only the discovery of Nostr Wallet Connect that allowed us to take the next step in what we were building and actually bring some new use cases to the Bitcoin world.
Awesome, fantastic. So you mentioned Nostr Wallet Connect. Let's deep dive into it. So give us first of all, like a normie view of Nostr Wallet Connect, and then maybe even a developer view, sort of a 5-year-old and then like a 20-year-old.
Yeah. So, I mean, generally speaking, Nostr Wallet Connect is just um, a new way to communicate with wallets, and it allows to standardize these communication networks and methods. And it essentially, when it comes to use cases that are very important, I believe, is the fact that it's one line of code and you can communicate with all of the wallets that are compatible with it, which is great. It just brings this new standard into how we can interact with other wallets. And also, I think, very important one is that it allows to trigger payments without ever holding a user's funds, right? Which is essentially what payments should look like, right? In the Bitcoin world, we think of self-custody as being, such an important point of what Bitcoin is, and we live by these rules at Flash. For us, it's very important to make sure we never hold custody of users' funds, and being able to recreate all of these traditional payment interactions that we're used to. Um, they were always built in this custodial way using custodial technology. Well, now we can redo them in full self-custody, which lowers the need for any kind of KYC, any regulatory scrutiny, and difficulty in building such things. So that's really where the power of the Nostr Wallet Connect lies. The simplicity for building non-custodial applications, and the possibility of using direct debit, including in a self-custodial environment. And so we're just pushing use cases using these two properties, making sure that we are a payments platform without intermediaries.
I remember the first time that we talked about it, because I remember a few months before you were like, "Look, I have this cool AI thing." I'm like, "Oh wow, that's really impressive." And then after a few months, you're like, "Oh look, check out what I'm building with Nostr Wallet Connect." And I'm like, interesting. So yeah, you're very early in the game in Nostr Wallet Connect. So what prompted you? What was about Nostr Wallet Connect, or like who first told you about Nostr Wallet Connect? How did you find out about Nostr Wallet Connect?
Well, actually, I was building using the RBJS SDK. And essentially, my first approach was, I mean, I have to use Lightning addresses. It's the easiest. I was looking for solutions that allow me to build things without needing to build my own wallet, because that's like big difficulty in the Bitcoin space, right? If you want to be able to create payment experiences, how do you do it without a wallet? So you need to integrate with others. And so, I thought, okay, let's go with Lightning addresses. But of course, a payment provider like ours needs to work um, by taking fees. Like, this is really the standard in the fiat world, which is not only the standard in the fiat world, but how such payment processors tend to always work. It's a fee per transaction. But how do you capture a fee without taking custody of users' money, right? And essentially, we had this previous AI thing, and I'll talk about it briefly also in the presentation I have. But essentially, we were using a combination of Lightning addresses and Nostr Wallet Connect in order to create Lightning invoices, depending on what wallet was connected and how we could interact with it. And when we pivoted from this previous thing to Flash, that's when I told my co-founder, I said, look, yeah, let's pivot 100%. We got to go for something just more. This tech allows to really scale different use cases. So let's focus on this as opposed to more of a niche product that we originally had built. But I told him, look, the thing though is that the system we have now goes one of two ways. It's either Nostr Wallet Connect, and for us to be able to take a fee, we're custodians. Either Nostr Wallet Connect and we're not custodians, either Lightning addresses, and the way we can capture a fee is if we get paid first and then we forward this to the user. But then, we're, if not a custodian, money transmitter, because this transfer can be instant. And so I told my co-founder, like, no, I think we should commit to this tech. It brings such a crazy use case and ease of building that's going to be the future. And so we committed, okay, yeah, let's just go with Nostr Wallet Connect. Of course, not too many wallets were compatible at start. Now, I mean, there's over 10 wallets that are compatible and more coming out. But also to simplify a bunch of onboarding, we created our own wallet. I'm going to tell you a bit more about this today as well.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, props on you guys, right? Because jumping in a new protocol is always tricky, because on one hand, yeah, there's, if the protocol succeeds, like even Bitcoin, well, you win from being an early adopter, right? Like you guys, are aiming to do. On the other hand, it needs to be adopted, right? So, a lot of people, take conservative views to new things, and so I don't know, maybe we'll integrate it, maybe we will not. And so you have to really see how is the ecosystem going to develop. How can the system exist without this versus does this ecosystem actually need it? So that's why I'm really curious to explore it even more with you, to understand your vision for how Nostr Wallet Connect solves really critical problems with Bitcoin, with the Bitcoin Lightning ecosystem, and where it can take it. So so I think this is a really good place to get into your perspective, your vision really of Nostr Wallet Connect, and with your presentation. So
yeah, 100%. I just I do want to add one thing first, because I don't have it in the slide, so I might as well just bounce on what you just said. I think one of the difficulties that there always was in the Bitcoin space is that you have one use case, you need one wallet. It was just not possible to connect your wallet to different applications in a way that allows for 360 usage of your wallet, and that's something that the crypto world through Wallet Connect, they kind of got. They're like almost there. We're also pushing for the use of Bitcoin Connect a lot. It's just a very nice UI to be able to connect your wallet. That's why we use at Flash, and we encourage more wallets to use that, because it's about removing the technical steps for users so that they can more easily use other applications. And if you think, how most people are used to interact with their money, it's not through having 30 wallets on their phone, 30 bank accounts that they use one for this or that use case. Is they have one bank account, and they can use this bank account with all of the applications out there, right? And so, sure, it's very easy to do in a custodian way. And, that's how you've got the MasterCard and the Visas and all these kind of things that allow for these nice integrations. Well, now we've got Nostr Wallet Connect that allows to do just that. You take your one wallet, the one that you like the most, and you can connect it to any application and just interact with it fully, which, that's kind of what I think is the future world of wallets in the Bitcoin space. Anyway, with all that said, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense as a vision, definitely. And again, props to you for jumping in something that you saw as having great potential and being there early. Because again, early adopters, right? If they get it right, they will be rewarded by the market. So props on you for that.
Great. Yeah, thanks. Okay, so I'll share my screen then.
By the way,
Uh,
I did
yeah.
retweet our live stream with on X and also on Nostr on Zapstream, guys. So yeah, send us some zaps on from Nostr on Zap.stream. You can't do that on X or on YouTube. So yeah, definitely go check us out on Zap.stream. And Pierre, your Nostr is can you remind me your Nostr username? Is it Pierre Corbin?
Yeah, Pierre Corbin. Although I'm not very active on Nostr. I build on Nostr, but that's
Pierre, why not? We need to dig in here. What's going on? Nostr Wall Connect. Come on, man.
yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think Noster. I mean, has definitely a big use case when it comes to social network, and we want to leverage this more at Flash. But for now, we're focused on the use case that is shared user management and payments through a Noster Bot Connect. So yeah, no, so I am a Noster. Obviously, I'm just not very active,
You don't appear in my
unfortunately. Not yet.
search, so yeah, got some work to do here.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
fine.
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
All right.
sorry about that.
No, mate, all good, good. You're doing really well on Excel. It's fine. You're part of
All
it.
right.
All right. Let me know when you're ready. I'll put you up
Yeah,
on the live stream.
yeah,
We
sure,
have
sure, sure.
meanwhile you have Don Mongo Nostra Connect and not so active on Nostra, not making a good case here. Oof. Don Mango,
Well, there's that depends
that's
on
a
the use
little
case you
fair.
look at for
Yeah,
Noster. That depends on the use case you look at. It's like if it's
that's
going to be a
true.
successful network, the social network side of things is going to be a tiny portion of its potential. So,
That's a very good comeback. Point taken. Uh, Nostr is a lot bigger than the social aspect. In fact, the application in terms of the communication, financial payment communication rails that are not currently solved with Lightning, say, is pretty exciting to see that happening on Nostr. I'm really curious also at the architecture level, what information is stored on relays, and do relays even know that they're storing non-NWC information?
um, well, so we did just so a few weeks ago. There is Albi that created a new type of relay that is only for Nostr Wall Connect events. So it only filters for that. And so at Flash, we do have two types of relays because when a user creates an account with Flash, well, he puts a username, a profile picture if he logged in by email, obviously, and then we create a Nostr user for him, and we publish this profile information, this metadata essentially. We post it on our relay and other relays out there. So we have one relay for the normal social stuff that so far we're really using only for the user management aspect of it. And we have another relay that is specific for NWC events because it's just more efficient. And since then, we've seen a very big performance increase in our wallet.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
okay. So should I share my screen then?
yes, please. Let's do it.
All right. Cool. Let's do it. So share screen. Okay. Okay. Share my entire screen. I think it'll be easier. Are you seeing my screen? Yes, I think you
Yep.
should be. Okay. Cool. So I've got a few slides here specifically for this NWC hackathon. Thank you, actually, Geyser and Mick, of course, for hosting this, for organizing it. Very happy to be able to talk about Nostr Wall Connect, present this to everyone, answer any kind of questions, and just show our work. It's always a pleasure. All right, so yeah, we talked about it briefly, but that's kind of the journey that we had at Flash. So we started with, I don't know if you remember this, Nick, but we started with Talk to Satoshi. It was the first Bitcoin AI chatbot.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, so that does quite a bit. That was yeah, the first work I did with my co-founder actually when we were experimenting with AI. So for those that don't know, it was the first AI chatbot that would answer based on Bitcoin books and also all of the public messages we had from Satoshi Nakamoto, and it would answer as if it was Satoshi. And basically, as part of that, we added through Alan Bits the possibility to just donate some Bitcoin as a tip, so that because of course we were paying for the API cost of that, and so thanks to that. We could cover some of these costs. Now, not a lot of people actually make transactions, but that was the first experience we had with Lightning payments. on the web. And so from there, we went on another project, which was also the AI one, but that was really about API micropayments, really. Just the use case we had for it was AI. And so that was called Noster Eggs. And literally the week that we soft released this, we were meeting with my co-founder and we thought, actually, Noster Eggs, first of all, the name is not great. And the use case is so niche that it's really not the best product out there. But in the process, that's what I was explaining a bit earlier. We were experimenting with Lightning addresses, but we were also experimenting with Noster Wallet Connect, and that's again because the guys at Abi created it. They added it to their library, so Abi.js SDK, and so just working with this, I got to using both technologies, and so we got experimenting with Noster Wallet Connect some more, and that's when we committed to it when we moved on to Flash. And so Flash is really about B2B payment solutions. The first use case we had was a paywall for content creators. That, of course, is a product that still exists, and we just continued adding more. We, of course, have subscriptions. That is, one of the unique products that we have. We're the only ones to do that in full, self-custody. Again, we can trigger these payments on a schedule without ever touching anyone's money or their private keys, which is pretty great. And and the other point of innovation that we really have is around the fact that, again, we can be an intermediary in the software that allows businesses to earn, but we're not an intermediary in the payment, which is very important here because it makes us non-custodial, essentially. Right, so that's kind of Flash. A bit more about Flash. So that's a little view of our nice-looking dashboard, and essentially, it's a plug-and-play platform. So the platform itself, when you create an account, it has nothing. What you need to do is connect a wallet to it, and this is when all of our tools are open to you. And so you can earn directly into your own wallet, right? So it's very easy setup. There's no KYC because we're non-custodial. Payments are always peer-to-peer from your customer to your account, right? So plug and play, easy to set up, no intermediaries in the payment, and it's just great for everything that is e-commerce, subscriptions. We have physical points of sale, any kind of digital service as well. You can create literally your store on Flash, host all of your products, and you will be paid directly to your wallet. So just a very big range of products there that we think serve pretty much every single business model that is out there. And so just working on improving this daily. And of course, you're receiving these payments. So security, always, there's no conversion fee whatsoever. We really just take a fee per transaction, and these payments are always received by the merchant first into their wallet directly. So very secure. And pretty nice. So we're seeing nice growth and a lot of interest in our platform because the custody model is comparable to B2Pay server. It just depends on the wallet that you're using, whether it's a custodial wallet or a non-custodial wallet. I mean, from Flash's perspective, it really doesn't matter. It'll just work the same, and it's just a 2-minute setup, which is very nice. So how do we use it? I mentioned it briefly, but we essentially have 3 ways. So there's, of course, how we capture our fee. I'll get a bit more into the details for that. Then we also have the subscriptions. So, again, through Noster Wallet Connect, we can literally trigger payments from any wallet, including a self-custodial wallet. So, if you think our wallet is a mobile wallet, I'll tell you a bit more about it as well in a second. But so it's a wallet that you would have in your pocket. If you subscribe to anything through our subscriptions and using our wallet, well then a month later you have to pay for that same subscription, and we can do this directly without any action on your side. Literally, we just send a push notification to your phone, and this will trigger a payment from your wallet directly for that subscription. So again, peer-to-peer payment to the merchant directly, which is pretty nice. So you can be wandering around kind of like it works today, right? You connect your debit card to Netflix, for example, and that 30 days from your subscription, payment will automatically be triggered. You don't need to worry about it. Well, it's the same thing here. The payment will just be triggered from your wallet automatically. And the beauty of this all is that you don't even need to go to that subscription in order to cancel it. You always control it from your wallet. It doesn't matter. You can just delete the connection from your wallet. And next time we try to trigger a payment, your wallet will reject this because simply it no longer recognizes this connection. So in terms of security, it's just very simplified and very powerful. And then the third one is actually a brand new feature that we just added last Friday. For now, we're partnering with 2 companies for that. So we've got Bringin, and we've also got Bringin for EU, and we've also got Bitcoin Well for US and Canada. And essentially, from the Flash interface, you can just input your matching Lightning address. You choose what wallet you want to make the payment from, and we will trigger that payment automatically in that moment. And you can automatically withdraw to fiat thanks to these partners. So very nice. We're looking to add more if you know any, and we are going to add likely this week or next week another partner for the African region mostly. But one thing that these 3 points have in common is, of course, Nostr Wall Connect. But the more important one is that these are, oh, sorry, I didn't mean offline payments. Let me correct this right now. I meant backend payments. So these are payments for which you do not need to scan a QR code, right? So if you think of like how payments work in the Bitcoin space, it's always, there's a QR code that appears, you scan the QR code, and this is when you sign the transaction from your wallet and the payment goes. Well, in this case with Nostr Wallet Connect, you pre-authorized the withdrawal of funds directly, so such payments to happen. And so we can do these one-click payments or even no-click payments, right? So for example, when we capture the fee, well, I can go into in a second. Essentially, the way it works is the merchant gets paid, and after the merchant got paid, this is when we trigger the fee from the merchant wallet to ours, right? So, this way the merchant always gets paid first, and we only take our service fee afterwards. So it's a back-end payment. The merchant doesn't need to make a payment. When it comes to subscriptions, same thing. When you sign up to the platform, you select the subscription, connect your wallet, and from that moment on, these are just back-end payments. And same thing with the withdrawals, right? So sure, you choose what wallet you're going to send it to, you choose what wallet you're going to send it from, but essentially the withdrawal is automatic. You don't see a QR code, right? So that's the new payment experiences that Nostr Wallet Connect can bring that are pretty nice, I think. Right. So I'm going to dig deeper into this first one. Yeah. Do you have any question maybe like this?
No, this is really cool, really comprehensive. But just to dig a little bit deeper in terms of how it works technically for those developers that are also curious. So you guys are non-custodial, right? And you basically enable signatures to happen that then go to the relay. So like the communication layer basically happens at the relay level. All right.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, right? But it happens at the relay level, and it's all cryptographic, right? It's all encrypted. So the relays might have that information, but they're they're not able to read it, right? They're not able to actually cryptographically verify the payment, who's going from, who's going to. That's kind of
exactly.
So you guys possibly. You probably do run a Nostr Wallet Connect relay. So you basically are probably then part of the transaction. You enable the signature, you store in the cryptographically signed and actual contribution information, but you cannot actually read it.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. So essentially, the communication happens, and again, here we're talking about Flash, so our web application, right? These are features from our web application. This isn't the wallet itself, right? And so essentially, of course, they communicate and they work together, but it's an important distinction here, right? Because essentially from our web application, we're going to send commands through a Nostr relay to the wallet directly, right? So essentially, it's a Nostr event that is a Nostr Wallet Connect specific Nostr event that is going to send these, so it's published onto the relay, and then the wallet is going to see that event, see that it's from a Nostr Wallet connection that belongs to itself, and thanks to this connection information can decrypt it, right? And so only the wallet can decrypt the Nostr Wallet Connect event that is sent, right? And so what we do is just our application sends an event that is picked up by a wallet, and then this wallet just maps essentially its own APIs to this Nostr Wallet Connect method, right? So we can say create an invoice, and we just send it onto the relay, and then the wallet is going to pick up that event and is going to generate an invoice based on this information and send it back to us also via Nostr. So the communication part of it is open, but what is being communicated is fully encrypted and can only be decrypted by the parties involved here, which is the application itself and the wallet. Right?
But then you guys are an application, you are a wallet. But even if the two things were kind of together, you still could not. You cannot essentially control.
That's right. Yeah. So because our wallet is self-custodial, right? So
right.
What happens there is not in our control. The only thing that we can do is establish a connection between these two, and from there, it works with just any wallet, in the sense that if a user is using the Flash wallet, it works the exact same way than if he's using an Albi wallet or a Coinos wallet. For us, it makes no difference. The user experience will essentially, be the same.
Right.
There's just,
and I think it's a really interesting kind of point to highlight and bring up to any developer building an Nostr Wallet Connect, is that you can then, in the same way that Flash is doing it, you can build tools like the Flash platform that allows you to establish these payments and enable this functionality to your tool, but in a way that does not enable any control of the actual funds.
Yeah, so which I think is the important point here, is that you don't have the keys of the user, and so you don't need custody of funds. Whereas in every single payment flow, especially if you wanted to be able to have free setup, therefore you take a fee, well then in most cases, you need to take custody of these funds, and that's difficult, obviously, right? And so how do you do this in an interoperable way that kind of just works every time, and any wallet can be used to that, in its full capacity? Well, that's where Nostr Wallet Connect comes into play. I mean, if you think about it, it's just an API, but every single wallet shares the same API. And you know that if you want to create an invoice, well, it works the same way if it's Coinos, Albi, Flash, Orange Pill app, whatever wallet that is integrated with Nostr Wallet Connect, it's the same line of code, right? And that's kind of the beauty of it. It's all wallets just align and follow the same standard for their APIs. So, for example, and I know Albi is doing the same thing. Albi and just like us, we have APIs for using our wallet, but why use these when you can just use Nostr Wallet Connect, right? And I know that Albi, they're doing the same thing. They're pushing people to use Nostr Wallet Connect as opposed to using their own APIs, because in terms of integrations, down the road, it's easier for everyone. Because, match this to technology like Bitcoin Connect, that again is a nice UI to be able to connect any wallet. Well, then an application that supports Bitcoin Connect and supports Nostr Wallet Connect, a user will be able, down the road, as this gets more and more adopted and every wallet will integrate it, well, then you'll just be able to come with any wallet you have. In literally 30 seconds, your wallet is connected and you're really ready to use the app to its full potential, including, setting restrictions. Is it allowed to trigger payments or not? Because you have full control over that. Is it allowed to create invoices or not? Check your balance, like all these elements, you have fine-tuned control over them, which makes sure that you always connect your wallet to different applications with the right level of security.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry for steering us in that bit of a tangent. Let's get back.
No, that's fine. That's cool. Yeah. I mean, in the end, we have to get a bit technical here too, right? So it's kind of the goal here. All right. So don't hesitate with questions like that. Okay, and so how we use Nostr Wallet Connect at Flash. Again, these are like the three main points. I'm going to focus a bit on this one, but the logic is kind of the same everywhere, I suppose. Although with the withdrawals, we don't take a fee like at all. You can just make a transaction. Like there's no fee involved here, but these of course do have fees, and we trigger the payments also in the backend. But if you think of like traditional payment processors and how they work, I mentioned it briefly. There's a customer that wants to pay a merchant, but the customer never pays the merchant directly. The customer first pays the payment processor that is going to hold the funds, is going to charge its fees, and then it is going to allow the merchant to withdraw these funds, right? So the payment processor is a custodial in this case. And this, of course, adds delays, it makes it more expensive, and I mean, there's the kind of stuff that for them just holding these funds, it adds costs, right? And oftentimes, if you leave money at one of these payment processors and you forget about it, well, the moment you withdraw it, your fees are going to be increased and so on. So it's not your money, right? And that's what we're trying to solve here. Because if you're a business, well, you want to be able to be paid directly, receive your money instantly at that moment, and it removes any kind of accounts receivable if we're getting technical in the accounting sense of things, and it's just annoying processes. So the way we do it at Flash is that the customer pays the merchant directly. So if you're using I don't know, either of our products, whether it's let's say our store, and someone is at checkout and he sees a QR code that appears. This QR code, this payment request, was generated from the merchant's wallet directly, thanks to Master Wallet Connect, right? And so then the customer, when he pays that QR code, he pays the merchant directly. And after the merchant got paid, well, we can generate, using Master Wallet Connect as well, an invoice from our wallet, and we just send it over to the merchant's wallet, requesting him to pay for it, and that's where we take the 1.5% fee. So we can, automate these micro transactions. Every single time the merchant gets paid, we get paid as well, right? And so it's a very nice and very simple model. And in merchants' wallets, I mean, the first time they see it, it's always like an aha moment, because they will generate this payment request in their front end in our checkout. On our point of sale or whatever, and the moment it's paid, well then we then go check the wallet. Well, they see that they have an incoming transaction, which is what the customer paid, and then instantly it happens the same second. As soon as they received it, the same second, there's the outgoing payment with the fee, right? So very auditable, very easy for them to track
Right.
how these payments are
And
going.
another quick question here. So in this context, you're not in control of the funds, right? But can you know if the payments are, I'm gonna say a bad word here, but like say they're like non-compliant payment, or so they're sort of, dealing with sort of going to places that are sort of sanctioned countries and so forth, right? How would you know that that's sort of not happening? It's a bit of a bad word in the business space, but it is some of the questions that might arise down the road.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, like if you want to run a legit business, you have to think of these kind of things, right? Because you might end up in trouble. So no, of course, and essentially, we can only check this at the platform level, right? So we can see it based on what user created what account, what product he's hosting there, right? So that's the level at which we can have some control over it. But when it comes to the flow of funds, and I mean, we can't. We don't have this information. We don't know, right? The only thing we know about the merchant is his Nostr Wallet connection. We know nothing else. If he gave us only false information, well, that's just things that are kind of out of our control, right? And so at this stage, that's the answer. There's maybe more processes that will need to be added here and there, but at the same time, the law is built in such a way that if you are yourself not part of the transaction, the financial transaction, well then you are not a facilitator for these illegal things, right? So if you think of like a great example in the Bitcoin space, which is Silk Road, and part of the reason why they got into trouble and ended up spending so much time in prison is because it was a custodian platform. So the customer, it was following this model. So the customer was paying Silk Road that was then forwarding this to the merchant. And the moment you do this, well then as the payment processor, you are part of this transaction. So if the merchant is selling drugs and the customer pays the merchant through you and you hold the money, well then you are also a drug dealer, right? So that's kind of like the legal point that is pretty important here that we avoid at this stage. And so legally there's really nothing that kind of blocks us, because again we're not involved in the flow of funds. But still, there's certain things as a US company that we can't do business with some countries, and of course, when we found this out, we have rejected such business. Unfortunately, That's how the world works.
Absolutely, yeah, makes a lot of sense. Gotcha. Thank you.
Of course. All right. So now the Flash wallet. Here we go. So, I mean, it's still in test flight. It's available on Android and iOS. I recommend anyone to just scan this QR code or go to this link, paywithflash.com/wallet. Since we're still in this beta version, you need to put your email address. You'll then receive an email where you'll have all options to download this wallet. We plan on releasing it on the app stores in July. So hopefully this will be it'll go well. I mean, our wallet has been already in beta and in test flight for a while now. So we've done a good job at improving it, making sure that everything is nice and secure and well built. So we don't expect any issues with the app stores. But again, we never know. So the wallet itself, so it's free. It's really something that we're using as an enabler for Flash, our business tools. So it just simplifies onboarding. It avoids us, needing to redirect someone to a different wallet. Of course, it's a mobile wallet, so it might not be for every profile, and that's where great partnerships with other wallets like people at Albi and so on are very good as well. But as a great onboarding facilitator, getting started with Flash instantly, well, we created this wallet, so it's free. It's built on, so it's a liquid wallet. Oops, sorry. It's built using the Breeze Liquid SDK, their nodeless SDK, and it interacts with Lightning. In fact, it also interacts with on-chain just by managing swaps in the backend, right? So the funds that are received there are liquid Bitcoin, but all the Nostr Wallet Connect methods we have interact with Lightning directly. Well, and we have some liquid stuff there too that I'll explain as well. But essentially, free to get started, because of course the fact that it's on Liquid means that it can start with a zero balance, which is one of the convenient elements of Liquids, as opposed to self-custodial Lightning wallet that requires liquidity, that requires opening channels. That's the way to go, right? It's just technically difficult and uses new users.
Sorry for interrupting. What's the benefit of going with a liquid Bitcoin wallet versus just going full Bitcoin?
There's two major benefits that I see. The first one is the fact that you can start with a zero balance, right? So it's just easier.
No, I mean Bitcoin on chain.
Rather than on chain, go for liquid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, I mean the size of the blocks, the length of one block is about 1 minute, and they are looking at decreasing that. In fact, for many payments, it is directly less than that. That's number one, and also you can send.
Why does that matter? Sorry.
Because if you're making payments where you're like on a checkout,
it might take up to 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's the reason. Got it. Okay. Versus 1 minute is all better. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly it. And also it allows for smaller transactions between liquid wallets, right? And not only between liquid wallets, but also when using swaps, right? So right now with the new update that the Breeze SDK has released, the smallest transaction that you can receive in Lightning is 100 Satoshis. It used to be 1,000, right? So you can still, you wouldn't be able to do that on chain, right? You wouldn't be able to receive 100 sats directly from pure Bitcoin. I mean Lightning in that case. It's I think like Bolt Swaps, which is the provider that Breeze SDK uses, and that we also use in our app. That's another benefit. But they have a minimum, I think, of $25, equivalent of $25 for on-chain swaps, right? So that's just something we wouldn't be able to build and allow for these small payments, and that's a pretty big one. So faster and smaller payments, right? Which is pretty big.
Makes sense.
And lower fees too, in fact.
So you can receive payments from Bitcoin and get swapped.
That's right. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so it still is very interoperable with Bitcoin thanks to the Bolts guys.
Oh yeah, 100%, definitely. It just you could almost call it, like, when you're using it, it feels like you're using a Lightning wallet, right? But the difference is that it can also receive liquid, send liquid, also on chain. So I mean, it's just integrated with all of these different payment networks. Yeah.
Awesome.
And another benefit actually that is a pretty big one is the fact that when you have a liquid wallet, you have a liquid address. that's pretty confidential as well, right? So the privacy is really really good there. So we don't know where these payments are going, even on the Liquid network. So I think that's an added benefit. Same thing when it comes to Lightning, right? Because again, we only have the NWC connection. So privacy is pretty good. But there's also the fact that if you have an address, because Liquid is a blockchain, so you have an address. Well, then even if the wallet is offline, we can interact with it and create payment requests because we can manage swaps directly, right? And so one of the issues with the Lightning is that your wallet needs to be online. Your node needs to be online. In this case, there's no node that needs to be online. So as long as there's a Liquid address, well, then swaps can be received directly to that Liquid address, right? So even if you're in a plane and your phone is in airplane mode, we will try to interact with your wallet through Nostr Wallet Connect. But if we try twice and it fails, well, then we fall back to Liquid swaps directly. So it offers this extra benefit. Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Really curious to
pretty big
check it out
stuff.
on iOS, and for those on Android, it's already available. So
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Well, on iOS too, just test flight, right? Yeah.
Right, yeah,
But it's
true,
definitely available. Yeah. And the last one is got full NWC support. And so that's what I'm going to tell you a bit more of, like how we did it, rather what these interactions are like, because it's pretty important to be able to build stuff very easily, because that's also where we want this wallet to be, right? Sure, something that is easy to onboard our own wallets, our own users, but also something that is just easy to use to build, right? Because right now there are, I think, the two better alternatives when it comes to using Nostr Wallet Connect are Albi and Koinos. Koinos is a custodian solution, and Albi is, well, technical, so either you need your node or a paid solution, right? And so we kind of want to be in the middle where we're self-custodial and free fully to get started, right? So that's with different drawbacks, Liquid versus pure Lightning. And you see what I mean? Like there's drawbacks here and there, but we want to be an option that is kind of in the middle there, so that people can use to build stuff on. And so what does it look like actually? As the way we built it is essentially that when an event is sent to our relay, our Nostr Wallet Connect relay, with the right connection public key, so it'll be to a wallet, right? Well, then this wallet is going to receive a push notification. And this push notification is going to wake up the wallet, wake up the application momentarily, but that's just enough time to be able to interact with the wallet and respond with one of these Nostr Wallet Connect methods, right? And so every single interaction will equal a notification on the phone. And essentially, these are all the Nostr Wallet Connect methods that are available. So you can like check permissions, see what methods are available, budget, these kind of things. You can create an invoice, a Lightning invoice. You can create Liquid. So we've added, because of course it's a Liquid wallet, well, we've added the possibility to interact both with Lightning programmatically, so through Nostr Wallet Connect, and Liquid, right? So you have the choice. And in fact, that's something that we're using in our fees directly, is that whenever the merchant got paid, well, it's our turn to get paid. And so we're going to take a look at the wallet. We're going to see what permissions he has, so what methods we're allowed to use. And we're going to see whether he has Liquid or not. If he has Liquid, well, then it's a Flash wallet. It's a Liquid wallet, which means that it will always be cheaper for us to receive our fee not through Lightning, but through Liquid, because we don't need to pay for this swap. So then we use the pay invoice method, the pay Liquid method. So we pay from the merchant wallet to Flash using Liquid. But if there is no Liquid method, so it's a purely Lightning wallet, well, then the fee will be paid via the pay invoice method, right? So that's something very neat that Nostr Wallet Connect allows us to do here, is we literally choose the network based on who needs to send the money.
That's cool. Yeah. I see that. So behind the hood, you can decide which payments are being used, which payment styles, and it connects also with the swap. But Nostr Wallet Connect doesn't do the swap. I think that's important to clarify, right? That's a bolts exchange. It just allows you to choose the payment rails, really, which is really cool. Really cool. So I'm curious to learn also more, because you mentioned Bitcoin on chain, possibly also leveraging Nostr Wallet Connect. So I wonder how that connects to it.
So
In the same
yeah,
way, I
so when
guess.
it comes to yeah, so the same way, essentially, it'll be a basic method that allows to, like, for example, with Liquid, well, you cannot create an invoice just like you have in Lightning. But what you can do is you can create a Liquid address, right? And so what we do then is we create an address and then we pay that address. Essentially, that's our so step one, have an address. Step two, pay that address, right? Whereas in Lightning, you've got to first create an invoice and then you can pay that invoice, right? So that's two different flows here, and there is an open issue inside of the Nostr Wallet Connect GitHub in order to be able to add direct on-chain payments. It's not really tackled yet. We are going to be able to use it inside of our own application. So also in July, we're going to be releasing that, in every single one of our checkouts. Well, you get both a Lightning invoice, but you also get on-chain address to which you can make the payment to, and we check the payments in the backend and so on through swaps. But essentially, what we're going to be doing. 1 second, I'll just plug my computer because I see battery saver mode. Okay. And is essentially what we're going to be doing here is through swaps. But in the very close future, we're going to have other methods that allow to do this and interacting directly on chain. It's, I think, already doable somewhat easily with the Lightning nodes that are, directly nodes themselves, because every single node has an on-chain wallet, right, and an on-chain public key. So that's already one item that can be fetched from the node to be able to interact with it. But what it looks like in the end, I guess we'll see. But my guess is that it'll be similar methods to this. It'll be make an on-chain address and then pay on-chain. Yeah.
Right. That's cool,
Right.
because
So,
in these cases, the user doesn't need to have a Nostr Wallet Connect wallet, right? You could be having just a normal wallet and make a payment. You just can't make subscription payments.
Yeah, but so you would need Nostr Wallet Connect anyway to be able to trigger a payment from an on-chain wallet, but not to receive to that on-chain wallet, right? Because this can just be an address, right?
So the sending wallet would have to be a Nostr Wallet Connect wallet.
That's right. That's right.
Why? Right. That's confusing. Why is that versus the receiving wallet?
Well, because an on-chain address is static; it doesn't change, right? And so you don't need any code to be able to directly, you don't need to interact with the wallet in order for the wallet to be able to receive payments, essentially, right?
Right, but
because
also
the address
because
will always be the same.
Right, but for paying it, you just need to pay an on-chain address as well. You don't need to have.
Yes, but what I'm talking about is the on-chain wallet that would automatically make a payment.
Oh yeah, the subscription payments. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, so, well, subscription, or like even the fee we take, whatever it is, a backend payment, essentially. Yeah, a payment that doesn't require user interaction at the moment of the payment.
Yes, that makes sense. Yeah, but for non-interactive payments, it can also be a Nostr Wallet Connect wallet. Yeah, makes sense.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but I think if you think about it down the road, I don't see. I don't see Nostr Wallet Connect not succeeding. Just for even the example I gave when it comes to the fee, right? Like imagine, and we only use it for our fee at this stage, but that's something that we very soon want to be able to add to our subscriptions as well, because it's a peer-to-peer payment that is backend, right? And so the merchant and the customer, so their wallets, well, they don't know who they are. And in fact, they don't even know what methods they use, right? They know nothing about themselves, right? There's no direct connection between these two wallets. The connection that can exist is through Nostr Wallet Connect, and is just simply what methods we choose, how we choose to interact with one and the other, right? And how we pass the information between them, right? But the thing is that right now our subscriptions is a Lightning invoice that we generate in the backend, and then we pay it in the backend, right? And this is how our subscriptions work. But it's only Lightning, when in fact the merchant might choose Liquid and the payer might choose Liquid. Because these two payments use Nostr Wallet Connect, these two wallets, these users, they don't need to know what network it is that they're using. The only thing that matters is that they can receive Bitcoin from one another, and we can choose the best network, whether it's Lightning, whether it's liquid, whether it's on chain, it doesn't matter, right? For these users, what matters is that they can pay themselves, right? And that's kind of the concept I think here that is huge, and that is going to lead to the success of Master Walking. Because if you think about, like, today, if you meet with someone and I don't know, you paid for lunch, they want to pay you back in sats. Well, like, there's at least a couple questions before you know how you can send Bitcoin to that person. It shouldn't be that way. Like, you just both want to receive Bitcoin, right? Like, it doesn't matter what network. What matters is that you have Bitcoin that you want, that you can use on your wallets, right? And that's what Master Wallet Connect really unlocks here. So,
which is pretty crazy, right? And I think it's never really existed, right? Because if you wanted to send a payment to someone, you always had to send in a particular way. I guess now banks do that behind the hood, right? Banks do that behind the hood and take a massive
because they're custodians.
Because they're custodian as a custodians, right? But if you, in the past, you had to ask, do you accept gold? Even today, do you accept Bitcoin? But and actually now with someone that was a world's space wave space, right? Now they now allow payments to be made with fiat that actually pays with Bitcoin using also Nostr Wallet Connect. But yeah, absolutely, really good point that ultimately it shouldn't matter what people decide to receive on. You should just be able to pay them, right? The only requirement is connecting to Nostr Wallet Connect, and then if you connect to Nostr Wallet Connect, you then can receive payments in any means possible. So it's true. It's one step. It's just one step to then remove all steps in some way.
Essentially that's right. And so, it was built for Lightning originally. We added Liquid, these two methods here. Anything can be added. I mean, I mean literally anything, because it's just a matter of the event that is sent. It just needs to be able to be read, processed in whatever way you want, because then the backend handles it how you want, right? So, for example, Coinos is a custodial wallet, right? Custodial wallet. So whenever you call make invoice, well, it doesn't work like when you call make invoice when you're using the Flash wallet or Albi, right? Because the Flash wallet is going to call it's going to use the Breeze SDK methods to create a swap invoice. Albi is going to directly create an invoice from that node. Coinos is going to, they receive it from one node and they know who user the invoice should be created for, right? So the backend, like, it can be anything. It's just a matter of the method. So, I mean, I see a world where you can have, I don't know, fiat methods directly on Nostr Wallet Connect. It's literally just a matter of what the wallet supports and the mapping he does between its backend and these Nostr Wallet Connect methods. So I mean, that's why I'm into this. That's why
there's an interesting kind of I love this discussion. I think it's there's something there for sure. Maybe the only potential pushback might be that Lightning already is a kind of communication layer over Bitcoin, and it does already solve a lot of that. Like, you could argue that Lightning itself is that connecting bridge between all payment methods, including Lightning. I guess you could say, if you include Bolt Swap, right? Right, because you then have a system where Lightning is a sort of mycorrhizal connector between all these different fiat currencies, right? And you can send from a custodial wallet in Nigeria to a custodial wallet in the United States via Lightning, passing through lower fees, and that payment just goes through without requiring Nostr Wallet Connect. But now Nostr Wallet Connect becomes powerful is at the platform level, for a platform to enable that to connect to Lightning ultimately, which is doing a lot of the magic. And Nostr Wallet Connect allows that platform to leverage Lightning without becoming custodian. Is that sort of
exactly? That summarizes nicely. It's the communication layer towards Lightning, essentially. Right. So 100%, with some automations, like, allowing to pay invoices without signing each transaction manually. The wallet just knows that it automatically should sign the transaction. Essentially, that's what's happening.
Yeah, that's what Lightning does not do. Subscription payments. And automatic pay. What are they called? The direct debits, right? Which Lightning doesn't do. So exactly. That's big. Yeah.
All right. So if you want, we can kind of take a look at what this would this looks like in action, actually. I don't know how much time we have. Do we have time for that?
Yeah, we're actually a little over, but I can keep going as long as you want.
Yeah, we can just do 5 minutes, so because that's kind of the part also important for developers, I think.
Yes.
Because so you install the Flash wallet, and so yeah, that's actually that's my dev wallet. That's my Bitax picture here, profile pic. Anyway, so this is the home screen, and in order to be able to get to Nostr Wall Connect, well, you need to go to your account, and then you've got the app connections that appears here. You see, you've got a bunch. I created one earlier called Geyser Hackathon. That's the one that we're going to be using in a second in our live tests. And essentially, if you click on the little plus sign, it will create a new connection. You give it a name. Again, you can set permissions, set the budget, how often it renews, all these kind of things. And you see the default relay. This is our Nostr Wallet Connect relay, nwclay.paywithflash.com. And if anyone's building a wallet like this, feel free to use this relay as well. Yeah, but it's specific to Nostr Wallet Connect events only, right? And once you fill this in, you hit confirm, and it creates the connection. And essentially, when the connection is created, you get like this, a string, and you can copy it, right? You will never see it again. So once you click done, you won't see it ever again because the wallet doesn't hold this, because this is pretty important information. We don't want anyone to be able to have it, and so the wallet doesn't store that. But anyway, you can just create as many connections as you want. We also do that through Bitcoin Connect, a UI-based connection for that. Then you click on the scan, and like in Bitcoin Connect, a QR code appears. You scan it, and like this connection happens automatically with the name and like permissions pre-filled and stuff like that. Anyway. So once you've got your connection, well, then what I recommend anyone to just like experiment is to go to NWC tester. So it's created by Super Testnet. I don't know if you know him. He's a pretty cool developer. Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff, especially opened my eyes when it comes to like Monero privacy and stuff recently. He's got quite popular. But basically, he also created this NWC tester. There's literally this page here, and you can use it direct. So you can take this string that was generated, and you can use it with all of these things. And so yeah, we can do this now real quick if you want.
Let's do it.
So because I already have it open here. Yeah. So essentially, wait, I had this cool thing. I did it this morning when I was preparing. Okay. So here we go. So we can still see kind of the presentation, because we can go like point by point. Actually, that's not the first point. First point is supposed to be check permissions. But essentially, like you see, this is the Nostr Wallet Connect string that was generated. It might be the exact same one from this picture even. No, it's not. I created a different one. Anyway, and basically, if I just check the NWC string inside of NWC tester, well, so I hit submit, and it's checking. Okay, it validates that the relay is there. It considers this as a proper NWC connection. Now we can go and check permissions, right? So I'm just going to paste this in here, submit, and right now, so I'm receiving a notification on my phone. And this wakes up the phone and sends the response back saying, that the NWC string has these permissions. So I can get info. That's what we just did. We can create an invoice. We can look up an invoice. We can get the wallet balance, list transactions, pay invoice, make liquid invoice address, or pay liquid, right? And so there's like the detailed explanation here. So pretty cool. Okay, now let's like create an invoice. So I just input the NWC string. I input an amount, like 1,000 Satoshis. I give it a description. I don't know, pay me. And I hit submit. So this sends it again to my wallet as well, and the wallet sends a response back. Yeah, 6 seconds is a bit short because of course it's mobile, but so our application, for example, we use 10 seconds, but NWC tester uses 6. It'll receive it eventually. You'll see it'll be important for us. Making an invoice is a bit of a longer feature.
Right.
Just give me a sec. And yeah, here we go. So you see, it just created an invoice, and so that's a Lightning invoice that will be received directly to my Flash wallet. So it's
and that's
1,000
because
Satoshis in millicents.
And that's a Lightning address only because your wallet only accepts Lightning in this case.
Well, because the make invoice is for Lightning, so it returns a Lightning invoice, right? Yeah. Right. Whereas if I go lower and we see make liquid address, so if I paste again the same Nostr and I hit submit, so this is sending an event to my wallet, and it just created this new confidential liquid address, right, for this asset. So this is Bitcoin, but essentially, yeah, this address is confidential, and it can be a one-time address or it can be used multiple times, right?
So the Nostr Wallet Connect string in this case, NWC plus wallet, is that sort of like Nasser plus wallet connect slash that string. Is that the identifier of your wallet?
That's the identifier of this connection, this
Okay.
particular connection, right? So if I generate another one right now, it will have nothing to do with this. The only thing that it will have that is similar is like my relay is. Whoops, sorry, wrong button. My relay is somewhere. My entire app got crazy now. Okay, yeah. So you see, relay equals WSS NWC.pay. NWC pay with Flash. So yeah, that's the only thing they'll have in common. Other than that, it's so that's one of the great things of it, right? There's no identifier there.
Right.
So very, very private.
Okay.
So then I can pay a liquid address. So this, for example, I can paste the same. That's already a liquid address that I generated from a different wallet, and I can say, pay 100 satoshis, whatever. And this same thing. So it's every single time it's sending these notifications, like pay liquid, it's a different one, right? And so request to pay was sent, and from my wallet, well, this transaction is going out right now. And so we can also, just to close the loop here, we can check an invoice. So we generated an invoice just earlier. So using the same connection, we can go and check whether it was paid or not. So let's check that. Now, of course, it won't be paid because we didn't pay for it, right? But so if I check this, I hit submit. Now I'm receiving this notification exactly, which is check invoice. So that's yeah. So payment not found, of course, because the payment wasn't done. But I can pay for it. 1 second. And this, then we can query it again, and you will see. Right, so I'm paying the invoice right now from a different wallet. And as soon as the payment is confirmed on my side, yeah, okay. So the payment now was received, and so now if I hit submit, well, then now it's telling us that it was successfully retrieved and paid, right? So you can create an invoice and then just check whether the invoice was paid. And this is like essentially the first version of Flash was as simple as that. Now we've leveled it up. Of course, our backend is very robust, and we have all of these checks that are much more efficient and just better made. But essentially, the logic is right there. So you can create any app with this, as long as someone can connect, essentially give you access to this string here. So it gives you a connection string, and then you can just use one line of code to create an invoice and a separate line of code to check whether the invoice was paid. In fact, you don't even need to do that because the wallet will also send a notification through Nostr Wallet Connect saying the payment was received. And you can just, generate such payment experiences very easily. And to show you how easy it is, so that's all the notifications you get. There's this last step, essentially, that is taken, what I would recommend. Of course, we have at Flash a custom way already of interacting with Nostr Wallet Connect because, we just taking this to the next level. But to get started, just get the Albi JS SDK. It's just so simple. And look, in just a few lines of code, you can first create the NWC object. So you see, for people that know how to code, well, you just import the NWC from the library. And then all you need to do is say nwc.nwc client, and you just pass literally the Nostr Wallet Connect URL. That's the one that I was just moving from method to method. Of course, you want something more robust in an application, something that, of course, holds it encrypted and so on. This is the simplified version of the code. But once you've created this object, you can just use it. So this NWC client, you just call make invoice with it. You pass the amount, so in millisats, so 1,000 sats would be 10,000. And then description, NWC client example. You run this code, and as the response of this, you will have a Lightning payment request, and you can do whatever you want with it in your application, generate QR codes, whatever it is. So you literally have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines of code, from which I count 2 that are formatting stuff. It could literally be 3 lines of code, and you've got an NWC application that allows you to make all of these payment interactions without needing to worry about having a wallet of your own. So you can just build proof of concept. It works, it doesn't work, just repeat, try something else. It makes your development time so fast. And that's how we managed to build Flash with all of its features, essentially.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I cannot be more emphatic in saying how painful it was in the early days of Geyser to find a way of leveraging Lightning to make payments. In the end, we managed to make it happen. hold invoices work really well.
Hmm.
Our take is that they're still very complex because we're never really controlling funds, but it's really hard to build HODL invoices. So something like this is a 10x improvement in the user experience for developers.
Yeah, I
So
think especially as a start, right? That's kind of
yes,
like I said, yeah, like we no longer use this library. We no longer build this way because we're taking it to the next level because we need to, right? Because every line of code and improvement matters at the stage we're at, right?
absolutely.
But when you get started, I mean, again, 3 lines of code. The moment I found Nostr Wall Connect when I was building originally only using these Lightning addresses, like this spark just like boom, you're like, oh, I get it now. And so I really think that every developer should go through the same experience and the same feeling, because yes, it makes things much easier.
Yeah,
Right. But that's it. That's the end of my presentation, though. That's the very last slide.
Well, I love the, very to the point and showing, love the demo to really see it in practice and showing us the code. That was all really great. We'll make sure to make snippets of those, send them out, and get more people to see it. Because yeah, I knew it was easy, but I didn't actually know it was this easy. So thank you for showing us. But man, this has been great. I'm conscious of your time as well. Is there anything else you want to mention? Anything else you think is important to mention around this grant and why people should apply, and why you think an Australia Connect is something worth investing your time and in as a developer?
Yeah. No, so I mean, again, I think the number one point here is just the ease of building with that. It's a technology that is becoming much more standard now. Most new wallets that are released, they have support for Nostr Wallet Connect. The Breeze SDK are adding support for Nostr Wallet Connect directly, which will simplify our dev work like crazy because there's a lot of time spent just applying Nostr Wallet Connect to the Breeze SDK. So this will be great. So just support is growing, and it's I mean, especially in a world where now you can build using AI tools like Claude. I mean, tools like even Lovable will know how to build with Master Wallet Connect. And so if you just want to make a simple front end with a use case that you've been thinking about for a long time, take one evening, use the right AI tool, the right wallet with the Nostr Wallet Connect, and I can assure you that in just a couple hours, you'll have something really crazy worth sharing that can leverage these payment experiences that up until now were impossible in the Bitcoin world, because of course, direct debit. But even in the fiat world, like we're talking about automating microtransactions in direct debit. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I think the use cases are infinite, and I'm just very excited about it. And I think the potential there is huge. Now, when it comes to the grant, though, it's a great place to be able to learn about what we're doing, how we're using it, talk with us, and also, I mean, the prize money at the end is really something that I know when we started building Flash would have made a huge difference, because when you're just two co-founders that are like, and you know this very well, Nick, that you're like struggling through it, spending your time behind every kind of piece of design, coding, all of this, well, a $10,000 total grant prize, because that's it for two prizes, am I right?
So that depends on the number of applicants, but it may be up to, it may be divided up to potentially between 3 and 7 or 8, depending on. So yeah, it might end up being 1,000, might be 2,000, but still that's quite a lot, right? That gives you
I
enough
mean,
runway to keep building.
It's like the first money that we got at Flash was from an angel investor. It was small money, but the kind of money that allowed us to pay ourselves $1,000 a month, like literally. And the difference that this makes is just huge. It allows you to make this more of a priority, and that's all that you need is time. And yeah, and so I think it's just very exciting. It's great that we managed to put all these NWC focused companies together, that you put this together as well, because that was 100% your idea as well, which I think is amazing. And I think yeah, it's just tech that is worth spreading and can bring a lot of people over to Bitcoin, I think.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you so much for sort of explaining this so thoroughly and outlining your vision of an Australia Connect and the powerful tools that Flash has become and that developers can leverage. So thanks again, and make sure to go visit. Do you want to tell us a bit your socials? quickly?
Yeah, sure. So, well, we've established you can't really find me on Muster already, but find me on X. Pierre Corbin. If you search for that, you should find me there. Also, of course, go for looking for Flash. So, on Twitter, the handle is paywflash, and of course, I mean, just check our website, paywithflash.com. Everything is there. Yeah, and happy to help everyone. So also, feel free to write to me, pierre.corbin@paywithflash.com. I'll answer every email. Yeah. That's it.
Exciting. Well, amazing. We'll do a space on Wednesday. Hope to see you there. If not, then we have our hackathon on Tuesday, our sort of pitch day. So definitely would love to also have you there and sort of see what people are building with Nostrovolo Connect, and yeah, be our judge there. So yeah, thank you so much again, Pierre. Good stuff, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everyone, for listening. I hope it was interesting, and thanks, Mick, for putting this together. I really appreciate
Great.
it.
And I'm sure there's many developers out there that have been fully Nostrovolo Connect build. Now go on geyser.fund/grants/16, get applying. It costs nothing. Just create a project, launch it on the grant, apply for it. And if your project is even connected in some way to Nostrovolo Connect, definitely apply. Even if it's at the designer level, even if you have a prototype, even if you have an idea, that will put you, that really extra mile. The first step is the most important and challenging step of a project. So don't be scared. Launch it, put it out there, get pitching, get inspired by the other builders, and let's start getting Bitcoin in people's hands through applications and the tools that Nostrovolo Connect can put into people's hands. So really excited for this. Let's get building.
Awesome. Very good words.
Awesome. Talk soon. Thank you, guys. See you on Wednesday at the space.
Thank you.